most first year MBBS students make this mistake while doing physiology. They try to memorize everything. And that is exactly why 1 week before the exam you feel like you don't have anything now. Don't worry, I got you there. Hi everyone, my name is Apurva. I'm currently a third year MBBS student at GMC Ratlam, and in this video I'll teach you everything you need to know in general physiology. So this video is essentially made for people who want to revise everything quickly before the exam, or even if you are a first time reader, I've tried to explain everything as logically as possible so that when you read the book after this lecture, it will make sense to you. You won't have to memorize every single thing. Also, you don't need to take any notes for this. I'll be adding a link to my own notes so that you can refer to them. So, beginning with homeostasis, in this chapter, there are few things that you need to know. First is the definition. Name of two scientists, I'll tell you which ones. Example of types of feedbacks and self-regulation and what happens when it goes wrong. So, first of all, the definition. What is homeostasis? The definition is homeostasis is the process of maintenance of constant internal environment of the body. Constant internal environment. Body के बाहर का environment is the environment in which you live in, right? My room is a part of the environment that I live in. But when we talk about internal environment, body का internal environment is the ECF or the extracellular fluid. So basically, your body is made up of cells, and the cells placed are in an environment of extracellular fluid. So the maintenance of this constant internal environment by the body is homeostasis. Homeostasis is a dynamic equilibrium, if you remember from your NEET days. Why do we need this homeostasis? Because we want to have optimal conditions for life, correct? So the name of the two scientists that you need to know is the one who coined the term homeostasis. So you need to know the name of Walter Cannon, the one who termed homeostasis. And then we have Claude Bernard. He coined the term milieu interior or internal environment, which is what I explained to you is the ECF. So homeostasis basically works as a machine. इसके 3 parts होते हैं: receiver, effector, control center, right? So receiver is the one जहाँ से signal आ रहे हैं. Control center is the one that decides कि is it okay, does it need any changes, and effector is the one that changes whatever needs to be changed so that internal environment is maintained constant. बहुत ज़्यादा कम या ज़्यादा नहीं हो रहा है. Let's say for example, you do not have enough fluid, so your receptor will tell you, oh my god, there is less fluid here. Control center will be like, okay, set point इतना होता है fluid, can we have this much little fluid? So what we'll do, we'll ask the body to drink more water. So effector will make you feel thirsty. Effector will make you have less urination so that you can conserve the water that you already have. क्यों कंजर्व करना है? बिकॉज तुम्हारा जो इंटरनल एनवायरनमेंट है बॉडी का, उसको हमें कॉन्स्टेंट मेंटेन करके रखना है, राइट? ऑल्सो रिमेंबर, ऑल माय डियर जूनियर्स, प्लीज डोंट, when you're writing the exam, homeostasis and hemostasis are two very different terms. Please make sure you are looking at the spelling. Don't write hemostasis in place of homeostasis and vice versa. Now, what are the factors that can affect your homeostasis? Anything that affects the body can affect homeostasis. So basically pH, temperature, water, electrolyte balance, hormones, nutrient, enzymes, everything. Now coming to the main part, if there will be a question asked, it will be on this topic. How is this homeostasis happening? So it is of 3 types. First is positive feedback, negative feedback, and then we have feed forward. So positive feedback is any feedback.
Basically, if you do something good, your teacher gives you a positive feedback, very good, shabash, right? And you do it more. So in short, positive feedback ऐसी कोई सी भी mechanism जिसका जो response है वो अपने stimulus को और बढ़ाए is the positive feedback. We'll do this in detail in examples in a short time. Negative feedback is you did something wrong and your mother scolded you. So you will not do it anymore, right? You will try to do it less. Same thing, ऐसा कोई भी response जो अपने ही stimulus को कम करने की कोशिश करे is your negative feedback. Then we have feed forward. The body is anticipating. उसको लग रहा है कि कुछ होने वाला है. So before that thing can happen, the body will try to correct the change that it think will happen but has not yet happened.
So we'll start with the feed forward का example because this is what I feel like people forget. Feed forward का example would be body temperature. So body temperature 2 parts में होता है. There is external body temperature or the cutaneous body temperature of your skin and everything, and then there is your core body temperature, your actual body temperature, right? So let's say for example you are sitting in a cold room. What will happen? You'll start to feel cold, but your core temperature is not changed yet. Even your skin temperature has not changed yet. your skin has thermoreceptor, उनको लगा कि okay, the temperature has dropped a little bit, right? So this drop of temperature, what will it do? This drop of temperature will go tell your hypothalamus, okay, there might be a drop in temperature in my core temperature soon. So what we are going to do, we are going to protect against that happening. हम वो होने ही नहीं देंगे, होने के पहले ही रोक देंगे. तो what will happen? You'll start shivering, you will have vasoconstriction, you will have less sweat production. So this is an example of feed forward. This is like looking at food and salivating, right? Before that change can take place, before it can disturb your homeostasis, your mechanism tries to undo that change. Same goes for if you're sitting in a hot room and your core temperature would rise, but before it can rise, your skin thermoreceptor will tell your hypothalamus what? Oh my god, the temperature is rising. What will happen? It may lead to an increase in core temperature. Do I want that? No, because it is not the constant environment. So body क्या करेगी? It will vasodilate, it will have sweat production, it will inhibit shivering, right? So this is how feed forward works. Now that we remember this, now moving on to negative feedback. Negative feedback, we'll take example for, let's say you have a lot of glucose in your blood. Do we want that much glucose in our blood? We don't. There is a set parameter. इससे ज़्यादा भी नहीं, इससे कम भी नहीं चाहिए हमें. So to bring this glucose जो कि यहाँ है back to this level which is the normal, what our body will do is it will increase insulin production. अब what will this insulin do is it will increase the uptake. It will increase the cellular uptake. Insulin will basically open the doors inside cell that will take the glucose inside. अगर सेल में ग्लूकोज जा रहा है तो जो ब्लड में था दैट विल ऑब्वियसली गो डाउन. सो व्हाट डिड वी डू? आवर स्टिमुलस वाज हाई ग्लूकोज, रिस्पांस वाज इंसुलिन. इस रिस्पांस ने क्या करा? इस स्टिमुलस को ही कम कर दिया. इट लीड टू एन डिक्रीज इन ब्लड ग्लूकोज, राइट? सो दिस इज योर नेगेटिव फीडबैक. Negative feedback is any mechanism which diminishes the stimulus which is creating it, right? Moving on to positive feedback. Now, positive feedback has a lot of great examples. We will do only a few. So, positive feedback में जो response होता है वो amplify होता जाता है. Response अपने stimulus को बढ़ाता है, stimulus के कारण response और बढ़ता है, जिसके कारण stimulus और बढ़ता है, and it just keeps going on. So, first of one of the most famous examples is parturition. Because of cervical stretch receptors being activated, there is a release of oxytocin. Oxytocin leads to contraction. अभी contraction हो रहा है जिसके कारण और ज़्यादा stretch receptors will be activated. What will this do? This will have further increase in oxytocin production. So जब तक parturition हो नहीं जाता पूरी तरह, this stretch contraction process will keep on ongoing, right? And it will keep increasing with each contraction. Another example would be coagulation cascade, which we'll do in blood physiology later. Then there is the milk letdown reflex. There is Ellis surge. Then we have the Hodgkin cycle, the generation of nerve signal. Basically, Hodgkin cycle में क्या होता है? There is this threshold stimulus. This will lead to opening of sodium channels. Now, this opening of sodium channels will create a voltage difference. This voltage difference will lead to more opening of sodium channels. More opening to sodium channels will lead to what? Rapid rise in potential. Depolarization. Again, this will lead to more. So, this is like a cycle. This is why firing level exists. That we will be discussing in action potential. Lastly, one of the most famous examples for positive feedback is excessive bleeding. Let's say someone has a road traffic accident, RTA. So, in that accident, they have already bled more than 2 liters. Now they've bled more than 2 liters, you have lost volume, hypovolemia happens. Because of that, what will happen? There will be a fall in blood pressure. Fall in blood pressure means perfusion pressure will be also less. Perfusion pressure कम होगा तो coronary supply will be compromised. Coronary supply कम होगी तो heart weak हो जाएगा. Heart weak होगा तो pumping power कम होगी. Pumping power कम होगी तो और BP गिरेगा. और BP गिरेगा तो फिर से perfusion और कम होगा. And this cycle continues until the person dies. So this is also called a vicious cycle because it keeps on increasing itself. It's like a snowball. You know, cartoons में ऊपर से snowball छोटा सा roll होता था, नीचे जाते जाते बहुत बड़ा हो जाता था. This is the same thing. So now, for exam point of view, if you are asked for definition, first definition you need to know for homeostasis, and the second definition you need to know is positive and negative feedbacks. Positive feedback का definition is increase in variable triggers mechanisms that further increase variable. Vicious cycle terminates through removal of stimulus or self-termination. increase in variable trigger, जो भी पैरामीटर तुम्हारा बढ़ रहा है, leads to mechanism that further increase this variable again, and this terminates by either removal of stimulus or self-termination. Similarly, for negative feedback, the definition is if a variable increased above a set point, mechanism triggers inhibition of formation of variable. अगर ये बढ़ रहा है तो mechanism इसको बनने से रोक देगा. Similarly, if a variable is decreased below a set point, mechanism withdraws inhibition to allow formation of the variable. अगर ये set point से कम हो रहा है तो mechanism इसको बढ़ाएगा, इसका production बढ़ा देगा by removing all the inhibitions which were in place till then. That's all you need to know for homeostasis. Moving on to cellular physiology. Cellular physiology में majority of the things that you will be finding in the books is something that you've already read for your NEET. So we will be skipping over it very quickly. It is usually not asked. So the parts which are asked, this is also the portion which is usually covered in biochemistry as well. So you're much more likely to find a question in that question paper than in physiology. So cell membrane is made up of what? Lipid bilayer hai, mosaic model hota hai and all that. It is made up of lipid, protein and glycoprotein and glycolipids. Now the important part about all of this is 1. The fluidity of the membrane. Fluidity of the membrane depends on temperature, cholesterol and type of fatty acid. So fluidity is what? The ability of the membrane to move, right? Like a liquid. अगर ये fluid नहीं होगी तो ये rigid हो जाएगी. We do not want a cell wall that's rigid. So transition temperature पे gels convert into liquid. So transition temperature या T max के ऊपर वाले temperature पे your cell membrane would be fluid. Then we have cholesterol. जितना कम cholesterol होगा उतनी ज़्यादा fluidity होगी because it's a big molecule, correct? Then we have at the last type of fatty acid. Unsaturated fatty acid में kink होते हैं. Kink is like basically this bend. You remember that NEET वाला diagram? So unsaturated fatty acids are what? The ones that do not have a double or triple bond. So ये आड़े टेढ़े होते हैं, इसमें थोड़ा सा cis trans conformation and all that happens. So this is having a kink. Now imagine there are multiple kinks वाले fatty acid arranged side to side. So it would be much more fluid because there is space for the molecule to move in because of the steric hindrance created by them. One new thing that you need to learn here is glycocalyx. Glycocalyx are basically एक layer होती है which is made up of glycoprotein and glycolipids. Glycocalyx does what? It serves an antigenic function. Immune system इन्हीं को पहचानते हैं whether the structure belongs to the body or is it a foreign object. It is a protective coat. It repels positively charged ions. Moving on to organelles very quickly. We have ribosome, which is important for protein synthesis. Then we have endoplasmic reticulum, which is smooth and rough. Smooth being agranular and rough being granular because of the presence of ribosome. So granular का काम क्या है? Rough का काम क्या है? Rough का काम is protein synthesis. Smooth का काम क्या है? Steroid synthesis, lipid synthesis, detoxification and enzyme storage. That's all you need to know. Golgi apparatus, which is continuous with the ER. इसका function क्या है? Packaging of proteins into vesicle. Moving on to lysosome. Lysosomes अभी हमने पढ़ा were made by Golgi bodies. So lysosomes are of 3 types. First degree is for or primary is for storage of the enzyme. कौन से enzyme होते हैं इसमें? Acid phosphatase, hydrolases. Then we have secondary, which is endolysosome. Once the vesicle जो भी तुम्हें डाइजेस्ट करना है उस चीज का वेसिकल फ्यूजेस विद दिस लाइसोसोम एंड इट लीड्स टू द एक्टिवेशन ऑफ एंजाइम्स. इट फॉर्म्स एंडोलाइसोसोम. अब यहाँ पे डाइजेशन चालू हो जाएगा एंड डाइजेशन चालू होने के बाद क्या बन जाएगा? ये फेगोलाइसोसोम. यहाँ पे एंजाइम्स विल बी इनएक्टिव एंड द साइकिल वुड बी फिल्ड विद breakdown products. Have peroxisome. Peroxisome has what? Metabolic enzymes which are catalase and oxidase. There are two diseases that may be asked as an MCQ that you need to know. First is Zellweger. Second is infantile refsum. These two are the diseases that happen जब peroxisome का functioning गड़बड़ हो जाता है. The mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell, it has double layer. उसके अंदर F1, F0 particle होते हैं. It is responsible. It has a matrix. It has porine proteins, it has enzymes. Everything that you've studied in NEET is covered over here. Nothing further is needed. From the cytoskeleton. Cytoskeleton basically makes any movement inside the cell, within the cell, outside to in, inside to out possible. So cytokinesis, diapedesis, pseudopode, phagocytosis, transport secretion, everything is covered by what? It is covered by cytoskeleton. Then we have the microtubules. Alpha and beta microtubules होते हैं. It is globular, first of all, G actin. Then it is these G actin combine together to form a filamentous form which is called the F actin, and these F actins again combine further. It is used as railway tracks for molecular motors. What are molecular motors? I'm glad you asked. Molecular motors are these small molecules that walk across these tubules, these filaments, while they're carrying something. So the two types of molecular motors that you need to know is kinesin and dynein. You just need to know their names. And they're useful for what? They're useful for intracellular transport. Moving on to possibly the most important point of this chapter, which is the cellular junction. Cellular junctions are what? They are basically cell adhesion molecules, CAMs or CAMs, which serve the function of cytoskeleton anchorage. ये cytoskeleton को पकड़ के रखते हैं. For example, you have so many bones in your body, right? What if there were no joints holding on to them? It would just be a pile of bones, no structure. Similarly, cell junctions hold on to these like joints. They are responsible for homophilic and heterophilic binding. Basically, दो एक जैसे सेल या दो अलग अलग सेल या सेल और बेसल लैमिना का बाइंडिंग, उसको रोक के रखना, उसको पकड़ के रखना, and laminin binding. So we'll start with what are the functions. Cell transmission, embryonic development, they hold the tissue together, they're responsible for inflammation, wound healing, metastasis of the tumors. These are the functions of cell junctions. Starting with your tight junction. Now tight junction, as the name suggests, they are put very closely together and the junction in between them makes sure that nothing can pass through.
Let's say this is my cell. इसके अंदर की तरफ there is zona occludens which are being held together by actin filaments. और ये जो बाहर वाला part है, this is called a claudin. Now this claudin binds on to the other claudin of the other cell and they form a very tight junction. They do not allow movement, they do not allow more substance to pass through. This is it. This is usually near the apex of the cell and cell membranes fuse together to obliterate space. That's how tightly held together they are. But they have iron and water channels. So अब इसका function क्या है? It acts as a diffusion barrier. कहाँ पर? GIT में, blood brain barrier में जो astrocytes हैं वहाँ पे. In the stomach, protecting it from the acid. Respiratory tract में, ciliary body of the eye में, and outer blood retinal barrier में. So these are just the names or the functions. What is the clinical correlation of this tight junction? If by any pathoorganism there is a destruction of tight junction, it will lead to a disease. What are these two organisms which can cause destruction to cellular tight junctions? First is H. pylori or Helicobacter pylori. This will act on stomach. It will cause peptic ulcers. The tight junction को जाके erode करेगा, so acid, hydrochloric acid can now seep in and now further create ulcers. Then we have C. difficile or Clostridium difficile. Again, it will act on GIT. It will cause diarrhea.
Adherents are structurally इनका काम क्या है? या तो ये सेल को सेल के साथ पकड़ के रखेंगे और they will bind together the cell in the basal lamina.
Either way, if they are holding on to cell, it could be desmosome or zona adherens. If they are cell to basal lamina structure, then it could be hemidesmosome or focal adhesions. So what is its structure? Cell के अंदर actin filament है. Actin filament is holding on to this catenin. This catenin is holding on to vinculin. This vinculin is connected to E-cadherin. Right? So एक के बाद एक structure है. And this E-cadherin, with the help of a calcium ion, holds on to other E-cadherins. So usually these are found basal, apex पे था tight junction, so this would be basal to tight junction. This can take care of stretch, stress, abrasion, shearing forces. So obviously it's going to be in a lot of places जहाँ पे ये forces use हो रहे हैं because it can withstand all of these. So location would be stomach, lungs, urogenital tract, blood vessels, skin. इसका clinical application क्या है? Cancer. If there is any problem in the adherence, E-cadherens usually, it leads to metastasis, which is the spread of cancer. Then we have desmosome. Desmosome is also holding on to one cell to another cell. So desmosome में क्या होता है? There is a desmoplakin. This desmoplakin is connected to desmoglobin. This desmoglobin binds to other cells desmoglein, which is again held by desmoplakin. And इसमें intermediate filament actin की जगह keratin होता है. That's it. इसमें there is and this has very high tensile shear strength. It can take on abrasions. So this will be present in which tissue which is constantly undergoing movement, undergoing stress. Example is cardiac tissue में जो intercalated disc होते हैं. Those. Example, if there's any problem in desmosome, it may manifest as pemphigus vulgaris. That's all you need. Hemidesmosome will hold on the cell to the basal lamina, right? So यहाँ पे नीचे integrin होता है, and ऊपर there is the intermediate keratin filament. There is a problem in this. It will lead to bullous pemphigoid. Only you just need to know the name, and you don't even need to remember the names.
Lastly, and the most interesting, the gap junctions. Gap junctions are made up of. Gap junctions are also called as nexus, and they are made up of connexin tubules. तो 6 इस तरफ and they combine together to make this junction. Now because of this junction there is basically cell to cell communication. तो cell to cell communication हो रहा है, so this is a physiological syncytium. Syncytium is what? When there are multiple nucleus together. There are multiple nucleus together here as well, but it is only physiological, not structural. What is its function? Cell to cell communication होता है through plasma continuity. It helps in apoptosis. It helps interferon signaling. Where are these located? They are in intercalated disc in cardiac tissue. अब इसमें ventricular and atrial system अलग-अलग है. They are different syncytiums. Then we have the electrical synapses. Then we have the smooth muscles. Right? This all concludes this chapter. Moving on to transport across membranes. In this chapter, you need to know what is simple diffusion, what is facilitated diffusion, what are carrier proteins, what are the types of carrier proteins. You need to know what protein channels are and how they function. Then you need to know active and passive transport, and you need to know transport across the cell or across epithelia. Starting with simple diffusion, imagine this as simple free movement of molecules. You already have studied this, so we'll quickly go through. So in this there is random movement. Usually कौन से molecules का diffusion is carbon dioxide, oxygen, hormones, steroid hormones. So the rate of diffusion here is directly proportional to the concentration of the substrate. जितना ज़्यादा substrate होगा उतना जल्दी वो simple diffusion के through सब में equally फैल जाएगा. Now Fick's law will decide the rate of diffusion, which is directly proportional to the gradient. जितना ज़्यादा gradient होगा, area, solubility, and inversely proportional to the thickness of the cell membrane. So now on what factors will this depend? First is the properties of the substance. Concentration in electric gradient उसका जितना ज़्यादा होगा उतना easily and उतना ज़्यादा उसका diffusion होगा. Permeability of the substance, if it is more lipid soluble, if it has smaller size, if there is no charge or positive charge in the molecule. Remember हमने पढ़ा था glycocalyx has a negative charge, it repels negative ions. This is applied here. Then properties of the membrane, जितनी ज़्यादा thick membrane होगी उतना दिक्कत आएगा diffusion में. Moving on to facilitated या फिर carrier mediated diffusion. इसमें क्या होता है, instead of the molecule just going like this, there is an auto rickshaw. That is your carrier protein. Your carrier protein picks up the molecule, drives it to the inside of the cell and dumps it there and comes back to the surface. This is how it works. In this you need to know what are the types of carrier proteins. So there are three types basically: uniport, synport and antiport. Uniport is one directional movement, antiport is bidirectional movement but in the opposite direction, and synport is two movements in the same direction. So example for uniport would be what? Sodium and potassium channels. Synport ka example would be sodium glucose co-transporter. Antiport ka example would be NAK pump, NaH exchanger. Right? Coming back to the facilitated diffusion. So this is a lot more faster than the simple diffusion itself, but it has three things that you need to know, three characteristics. First off, it is specific. The carrier proteins are specific to the molecule that they are carrying. If let's say sodium glucose transporter, it is only going to carry glucose, it is not going to carry fructose, correct? Then there is the saturation mechanism. So it is liable to saturation. At any given time, there are only a certain number of molecules जो उसको उठा के ले जा सकते हैं, carrier molecules, right? There is going to be a point where all of these molecules would be saturated, so that even when you increase the amount of substrate, वो उतने ही speed से वो maximum rate उसका hit हो जाएगा, correct? Then we have competitive inhibition. Let's say there are two molecules which are similar, they will compete for, and they have the same carrier molecule, so they will compete for the carrier molecule. जिसका ज़्यादा concentration gradient होगा उसका transport ज़्यादा होगा, and because उसका transport ज़्यादा हो रहा है, it will obviously inhibit the other molecule. So these three things you need to know. Then we have osmosis. Osmosis is because of aquaporin protein channels. So it is a movement of solvent from its lower concentration to its higher concentration, और vice versa. जहाँ पे salt या solute का concentration कम है से जहाँ पे solute का concentration ज़्यादा है, when they are separated by a semi-permeable membrane. These are the three parts of the definition that you cannot miss. This is happening through which? This is happening through aquaporin protein channels. So osmotically ineffective materials are what? जो just they can go through diffusion, right? And because they are diffusible, उसका osmotic pressure पे कोई काम नहीं पड़ने वाला. These could be your gases, these could be your hormones, these could also be the substrates which are either used up, utilized, or produced by the cell. Then we have osmotically effective substance, for example, plasma proteins and dextrins. Since they cannot undergo diffusion, their pressure will lead to increase or decrease in oncotic pressure. These protein channels are of 5 types here, and we'll go through them quickly. First is the leaky channel. For example, potassium leaky channels. These are just there. These are just like open gates. ठीक है, you want to go, you can go. You want to come in, you can come in, depending on your gradient. Then we have voltage gated channels. These are present in neurons. These could be a sodium or potassium voltage gated channel. So एक threshold होता है voltage change का, stimulus का, which activates the Hodgkin cycles, which we just discussed, जिसके कारण से ये activate हो जाती है, जिसके कारण ये खुलती है. Below that or beneath that threshold, this channel will not open. Then we have ligand gated channels. This could be, for example, acetylcholine in your NMJ or neuromuscular junction. What happens is, this is your receptor, right? This is your receptor. यहाँ पे आके acetylcholine will bind. Acetylcholine is what? The molecule, which is the ligand. इस ligand के connect होने के कारण या तो this channel will simply open, या फिर what will happen? There will be a conformational change in the channel and it will open. Either case, ligand के connect होने के बाद the channel will open. Then we have a mechanically gated channel. For example, large pressure, which leads to pain pathway activation. These channels are usually sodium channels. Then at the very last, we have carrier-mediated molecules. For example, we have blood transport, or let's say, for example, GLUT4. As you can go through the notes if you want to read this in further detail. Moving on to active transport. Now, active transport is everything that passive transport was not. So, passive transport में क्या हो रहा था? It was a downhill movement. Active transport will be an uphill movement, which means it uses energy. This was non-specific. It was not limited by saturation and competition unless हम facilitate की बात करें. यहाँ पे in general it will be specific. Saturation kinetics लगेंगे. It will have a competitive inhibition. All you need to know is example में sodium potassium pump, calcium pump, hydrogen potassium pump, proton pump, and ABC transporter, which is ATP binding cassette transporter, जिसका एग्जाम्पल है CFTR प्रोटीन, जिसके एब्सेंस या डेफिशिएंसी में या कुछ भी दिक्कत आने पे सिस्टिक फाइब्रोसिस होता है. So the question that they can ask you from this chapter is sodium potassium pump. So all you need to know is remember that diagram. So there is बीटा सबयूनिट एंड देयर इज अल्फा सबयूनिट. बीटा सबयूनिट का काम है अल्फा को मेम्ब्रेन से बांध के रखना. सो इट इज एंकरिंग प्रोटीन. इट इज स्मॉल एंड इट हैज व्हिच जंक्शन? इट हैज adherent junction because this will move, right? This is the alpha subunit. Alpha subunit is bigger. It has a lot of binding sites and it is responsible for the transport. So अब इसका mechanism कैसे काम करता है? There is phosphorylation of the alpha subunit because of ATP binding and उसके साथ साथ सोडियम बाइंड होता है. अभी फॉस्फोरिलेट हो गई तो इसमें कन्फर्मेशनल चेंज आएगा. इट विल रिलीज द सोडियम इनसाइड द सेल. नाउ बिकॉज ऑफ द बाइंडिंग ऑफ पोटेशियम ओवर हियर इट विल लीड टू डीफॉस्फोरिलाइजेशन. दिस विल अगेन लीड टू कन्फर्मेशनल चेंज एंड टू पोटेशियम वुड बी रिलीज्ड आउट. दिस इज हाउ इट वर्क्स. इसका एक्टिवेशन एंड इनिबिशन इज मोस्टली एनर्जी एंड एंजाइम डिपेंडेंट. Now what is the function? Cytosolic concentration of salts maintain करके रखता है. Cell volume maintain करके रखता है. Protein synthesis again because RNA को stable होने के लिए high potassium लगता है cell के अंदर. So it keeps the potassium inside, right? It maintains the resting membrane potential and hormone action का mediation यही करता है. Moving on to secondary active transport. Secondary active transport is basically you are using the energy but indirectly. So what you do, you will create a gradient using energy, and by the use of this gradient you will be transporting other things now. So by primary active transport we have created a gradient and this gradient is being used by this secondary pump to transport whatever it is transporting. इसका सबसे easy example है sodium glucose co-transport. Using primary active transport, sodium का हमने gradient बना दिया. Now because of this gradient, what will happen? It will want to come in. So when it comes in, हमारा secondary active transport क्या करता है? उसके साथ glucose को भी bind करता है. तो using the energy of the previous pump, it created a gradient. And now this gradient is helping you push in the glucose with the sodium itself. For example, we have SGLUT1 and SGLUT2 in intestine and kidneys respectively. Similarly, we have sodium amino transport. And we have sodium hydrogen counter transport as well. Moving on to vesicular transport. Now, vesicular transport is of three types. या तो सेल कुछ अंदर ले ले विच इज एंडोसाइटोसिस, या तो सेल कुछ बाहर फेंक दे एक्सोसाइटोसिस, या फिर सेल अपने थ्रू बस मूवमेंट करा दे, उसको यूज ना करे, विच इज ट्रांससाइटोसिस. स्टार्टिंग विद एंडोसाइटोसिस, इट इज पिनोसाइटोसिस और फेगोसाइटोसिस. पिनोसाइटोसिस का एग्जांपल क्या है? पीसीटी एंड इंटेस्टाइन. फेगोसाइटोसिस कहाँ हो रहा है? डब्ल्यूबीसी न्यूट्रोफिल मैक्रोफेज, राइट. एंडोसाइटोसिस इज एक्चुअली वेरी इजी. देयर इज अ फॉर्मेशन ऑफ सूडोपोड, फिर वो वेसाइकल बनता है. नाउ यू टेकन इन द सब्सटेंस दैट यू वांट टू टेक और ईट, यू क्रिएटेड इन. सो अब ये क्या हुआ है? बेसिकली ये सेल मेम्ब्रेन का एक बबल टाइप बन गया है विच इज स्टिल कनेक्टेड टू द वॉल. सो दिस इज कॉल्ड इनवाजिनेशन, टेकिंग इट इन, एंड देन देयर इज पिंचिंग ऑफ एट द जंक्शन. तो ये वेसिकल बन के अंदर आ जाता है इंस्टेड ऑफ जस्ट बीइंग एन इनवाजिनेटेड पार्ट ऑफ द सेल मेम्ब्रेन. Now there is an important or rather special type of endocytosis. It's called chaperone mediated endocytosis. उसका example we learn clathrin mediated LDL pathway. So clathrin is basically a triskelion shaped protein. ये तुम्हारा सेल मेम्ब्रेन है, इसमें एक पिट बनती है. इस पिट के नीचे यहाँ पे clathrin lined होता है. So this is clathrin, right? This is clathrin layer, and यहाँ पे there are receptor for LDL. So what happens is LDL जब ये receptor पे bind करता है, this clathrin coated pit causes invagination of the pit, it pinches off and it becomes an endosome. After the formation of endosome, this pit which was coated with clathrin, this endosome which had clathrin all over it, this goes back to the cell membrane, it is reused, and this endosome is then sent to lysosome to be digested. अगर इसमें कोई भी दिक्कत आएगी तो what will happen? Congenital hypercholesterolemia, क्योंकि LDL में दिक्कत आ रही है, low density lipids में. Lastly, we have exocytosis. Exocytosis could be consecutive or it could be regulated. Consecutive is what? Constantly जो चल रहा है. For example, goblet cell producing mucus in your stomach. Constant process है. Then we have regulated. If you get the mechanism, if you get the stimulus, फिर काम होगा. For example, digestive enzymes. पूरे time trypsin release नहीं होता है, right? And then lastly, we have other, which is transcytosis. So it could be either across the epithelium or it could be across a tight junction. So across epithelium में क्या होता है? It is a consecutive endocytosis and exocytosis. This happens in urinary tubule, it happens in GIT. Then we have through the tight junctions, this happens in small intestine, in PCT and gallbladders. Okay, so starting with membrane potential, there are two topics. एक resting membrane potential and another is action potential. So we'll start with resting membrane potential. Definition is the potential difference across membrane of all cells where it is more negative on the inside of the cell than outside is called its resting membrane potential. वो potential difference जो कि membrane के across होता है, जहाँ पे cell inside में ज़्यादा negative होता है, that is your resting membrane potential, right? For example, -70 millivolt न्यूरॉन्स का होता है, -55 पेसमेकर का होता है. अब ये जो रेस्टिंग मेम्ब्रेन पोटेंशियल है, ये मेंटेन कैसे हो पा रहा है? फर्स्ट इज योर सेलेक्टिव परमेबिलिटी ऑफ द मेम्ब्रेन टू वेरियस आयंस एट रेस्ट, गिब्स-डोनन इक्विलिब्रियम, नर्न्स्ट इक्वेशन, गोल्डमैन-हॉजकिन इक्वेशन एंड सोडियम पोटेशियम पम्प. स्टार्टिंग विथ मेम्ब्रेन परमेबिलिटी. सो बेसिकली हमारी जो मेम्ब्रेन होती है, इट इज मच मोर परमेबल टू पोटेशियम and chloride than it is to sodium, because the hydrated potassium is much smaller than hydrated sodium. तो again if you remember, जितना बड़ा molecule होगा उतनी दिक्कत आएगी across the membrane. It is impermeable to intracellular proteins, it does not let it go. These proteins sometimes may have charges, उसके बारे में we'll talk later. And then we have gated channels जो कि अलग अलग situation में अलग अलग permeability रखती है. So membrane permeability के ये points थे. Then we have Gibbs-Donan equilibrium. Gibbs-Donan equilibrium क्या कहता है? When there are two ionized solution separated by a semi-permeable membrane, then at equilibrium each solution will have electrical neutrality and products of diffusible ions on both sides will be same. But if there is any non-diffusible ion, this will only happen when सारे ion diffuse हो रहे हैं. For example, you have a protein with a negative charge on its surface. अगर वो diffuse नहीं हो पा रहा है, then the distribution will be asymmetric. Again, हमारा aim is पहली प्रायोरिटी क्या है? इलेक्ट्रिकल न्यूट्रलिटी मेंटेन करना. तो मान लो तुम्हारा जो नॉन डिफ्यूजिबल आयन है या इलेक्ट्रिकली चार्ज प्रोटीन है वो नेगेटिवली चार्ज्ड है, तो वो जिस भी तरफ होगा उस साइड के टाइन ज़्यादा होंगे. लेट्स से वी हैव 9 पोटेशियम and 9 क्लोराइड on one side. Here we should have had 9 potassium and 9 chloride, but because there is a presence of a negatively charged intrinsic protein, यहाँ पे एक केटाइन एक्स्ट्रा होगा, तो there will be 10 sodium and 9 chloride even though इस तरफ there is 9. Okay, so this was your Gibbs-Donan equilibrium. What does it tell us? अगर non-diffusible ion होते हैं तो asymmetric distribution होता है of cation and ion, और जिस भी साइड ये non-distributable ion है उसके opposite charge वाला ion उस तरफ ज़्यादा होगा. Moving on to Nernst equation, there is asymmetric distribution of ions resulting in concentration gradient, which is opposed by electrogenic gradient created by anions, which are non-diffusible. So at equilibrium, there is no net movements as both gradients equally oppose each other. So basically, एक gradient होता है concentration gradient and then there is a electrical gradient. If these two gradient अगर इनके forces equal and opposite है तो कोई net movement नहीं होगा. This equilibrium is called as the Nernst equilibrium potential. So even though there is a concentration gradient, because of electrical gradient, there is no net movement. So this leads to a differential in voltage across the membrane, जिसके कारण resting membrane potential is maintained. Goldman-Hodgkin-Katz equation. So basically Nernst equation से मिलता जुलता है, but in this we also take in the role of permeability of each ion along with its concentration gradient. तो कुछ नहीं होता, we have the same thing. We multiply the permeability coefficient with the gradient and we add all of those. We have the sodium-potassium pump. So now what is important is sodium-potassium pump in itself can only contribute about to -4 millivolt, because जो भी negativity इस pump ने अंदर सेल के अंदर maintain करी है वो neutralize हो जाती है chloride efflux के कारण. In short, it is the potential difference across the cell membrane where inside is more negative. Example, -70 millivolt for neuron, -55 for pacemaker. Causes were selective membrane selective permeability, Gibbs-Donan equilibrium, Nernst equation, Goldman-Hodgkin-Katz equation, and sodium-potassium ATPase pump. Second important part of the chapter is action potential. So what is the definition? Sudden reversal of membrane polarity produced by a stimulus to produce a physiological effect. Basically अभी तक जो membrane की polarity थी, अंदर negative बाहर positive, इसका sudden reversal due to a stimulus. To do what? To produce a physiological change. So where does this happen? जितने भी excitable tissues हैं सिर्फ वहीं पे action potential होता है. So we'll learn this with the help of the graph. So first of all, we have the resting potential -70 millivolt, and then we give a stimulus. Stimulus देने पे there's a small kink. It is called the stimulus side effect. होता क्या है, हमने जो करंट स्टिमुलेट करने के लिए दिया है थोड़ा सा apparatus में लीक कर जाता है एंड थोड़ी सी उसकी रीडिंग आती है. दिस इज जस्ट एन आर्टिफैक्ट, नॉट इम्पॉर्टेंट. देन वी हैव द लेटेंट पीरियड. दिस इज द पीरियड बिटवीन 1 and 3. दिस इज द आइसोपोटेंशियल इंटरवल. अभी बढ़ा नहीं है पोटेंशियल. आइसोपोटेंशियल इंटरवल ड्यूरिंग द स्टिमुलस ट्रैवल्स फ्रॉम द स्टिमुलेटिंग इलेक्ट्रोड टू द रिकॉर्डिंग इलेक्ट्रोड मेम्ब्रेन रीजन. यहाँ पे दिस इज द नर्व, राइट. मैंने यहाँ पे स्टिमुलस दिया, यहाँ पे मेरा रिकॉर्डिंग इलेक्ट्रोड है, तो मैंने जैसे स्टिमुलस दिया थोड़ा सा लीक होकर यहाँ चला गया. दिस वाज द स्टिमुलस आर्टिफैक्ट. देन देयर इज द लेटेंट पीरियड. यहाँ से यहाँ तक जाने के लिए फ्रॉम द सेल जो टाइम लग रहा है, दैट इज योर latent period and this is isoelectric. यहाँ पे कोई voltage change नहीं हो रहा है. This is directly proportional to the distance between stimulating and recording electron and inversely proportional to the speed of conduction of axon. जितना जल्दी conduct करेगा, speed of conduction जितना ज़्यादा होगा उतना कम latent period होगा obviously. Then we have at 3 firing या फिर threshold level. So this is the initial 15 millivolt change, after which Hodgkin cycle initiates at a higher scale and the rate of depolarization increases. हमने होम्योस्टेसिस में पॉजिटिव फीडबैक में देखा था हॉजकिन साइकिल्स कि एक आयन के खुलने से और ज़्यादा वोल्टेज चेंज हो रहा है जिसके कारण और ज़्यादा आयन्स खुल रहे हैं. तो दिस इज दैट थ्रेशोल्ड जहाँ पे हॉजकिन साइकिल एक्टिवेट हो जाएगा. एंड द हॉजकिन साइकिल ऑन एक्टिवेशन इट इज अ पॉजिटिव विशियस साइकिल. तो एकदम से बढ़ते 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 देयर इज गोइंग टू बी अ फायरिंग इंक्रीज. देन वी हैव the fourth stage which is the depolarization. Depolarization में क्या होता है, membrane is suddenly permeable to sodium. अब यहाँ पे पूरा खेल सोडियम आयन चैनल्स का है. तो what happens is यहाँ पे excitatory postsynaptic potential is much more than the inhibitory postsynaptic potential. We'll talk about those later. But in short, EPSP is more than IPSP. That's all you need to know. So sodium channel का activation हो जाता है through M gate. And after the firing level, influx of sodium increases many folds. Now the beautiful part about the sodium channel is it opens to close. Basically थोड़ी सी देर के लिए खुल के तुरंत बंद हो जाता है वो. So the sodium gates open and then quickly close due to inactivation of H channels. M channels and H channels are basically it's like this. ये channel है, यहाँ पे एक ऊपर गेट है और एक नीचे गेट है, like this, right? So this is the M gate, this is the H gate. At resting ये H gate खुला रहता है, M बंद रहता है. Due to depolarization M gate खुल गया, channel open हो गई. Now this is very short lived and this leads to inactivation of H gate. अब ये जो H gate है ये सिर्फ repolarization के बाद ही खुल पाएगा, तब जाके ये normal वापस अपना resting position पे आएगा, right? So this leads us to fifth point of the graph which is the spike. This is a sharp rise. अभी So, and the rapid fall of membrane potential. क्योंकि बंद हो रहा है तो अब वो वापस गिरने लगेगा. Which leads to phase 6 which is the repolarization. इसमें क्या होता है, potassium voltage gated channels होते हैं वो खुलने लगते हैं. Now the problem with this is sodium was like ऐसे खुला और बंद हो गया. Sodium was fast and they open only to close. Potassium on the other hand are slower to open and they remain open for a long time. इनमें एक थोड़ा सा lethargy type inertia सा रहता है. खुलता है, तुमने बोल दिया बंद होना है, अब वो बंद होने के लिए it will take some time. What will it do is basically slow होगा और लंबा खुला रहेगा. The opening causes decrease in sodium influx. Now remember I said the sodium gates are closing, so the influx has decreased, not entirely stopped yet. So these channels start opening when sodium channels are beginning to close. This is happening simultaneously. ये बंद होना चालू होगा वैसे ही खुलना चालू हो जाएगा. So the influx is still happening, but ये कम हो रहा है क्योंकि अभी सोडियम हमने धीरे धीरे बंद कर दिया, पोटेशियम हमने खोल दिया. अभी influx होता जाएगा and there's going to be a sharp decrease or the sharp fall of the potential. Then we have 7 after depolarization. अब एक पॉइंट के बाद there is going to be a softer slope. This happens because of the slower closing of potassium gated channels. Remember I told you sodium खुल के बंद हो जाते हैं बट पोटेशियम धीरे धीरे खुलते हैं, धीरे धीरे बंद होता है. तो एक पॉइंट के बाद धीरे धीरे जब पोटेशियम चैनल्स बंद होने लगेंगे तो जो स्पाइक अभी तक ऐसा था वो स्लोप थोड़ा सा ऐसा हो जाएगा. So this leads to after depolarization. Excitability threshold कम हो जाता है. So अगर after depolarization में you want कि वापस से मैं इसको action potential में डाल दूँ तो मुझे बहुत ज़्यादा stimulus देना पड़ेगा because अब ये जो मेरा resting था उससे भी नीचे जा चुका है. This is after depolarization. The 8th part of the curve which is the hyperpolarization. Now यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है, यहाँ पे resting membrane potential तो achieve हो गया है मगर ionic channel अभी भी मतलब आयोनिक स्टेटस अभी भी इक्वल नहीं है. सोडियम पोटेशियम पॉजिटिव नेगेटिव आयंस आर नॉट इन इक्विलिब्रियम. तो अब धीरे 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 सोडियम चैनल्स क्लोज हो रहे हैं. सो दिस लीड्स टू योर आफ्टर डिपोलराइजेशन. अब इसमें क्लिनिकल पार्ट क्या है, सबसे फर्स्ट तो एक्शन पोटेंशियल इनहिबिट होता है बाय लोकल एनेस्थेटिक्स व्हिच आर xylocaine, lidocaine, जितने भी एनेस्थेटिक्स हैं, व्हाट डू दे डू इज ये सोडियम चैनल को इनिबिट कर देते हैं. तो जब एक्शन पोटेंशियल का स्पाइक अचीव करने के लिए जो चैनल खुलनी चाहिए वो इनिबिट हो गई हैं, तो जनरेट ही नहीं होगा एक्शन पोटेंशियल. Moving on to the properties of action potential, which is usually asked as a short note in itself. So there are 5 main properties: threshold stimulus, all or none principle, refractory period, conductivity and accommodation. Starting with threshold stimulus, we'll understand with the graph. इसमें 3 things you need to know. First is Riobase. Riobase is the weakest stimulus needed to produce a response irrespective of time. एडिक्यूट टाइम के लिए मैंने अगर सबसे कम स्टिमुलस ऐसा मैं कितना दूं कि स्टिमुलस का रिस्पॉन्स आए, दैट इज योर रियोबेस रिप्रेजेंटेड बाय आर. देन वी हैव यूटिलाइजेशन टाइम. रिमेंबर मैंने बोला था एडिक्वेट टाइम देना, तो रियोबेस को मैं कितने टाइम के लिए दूं कि रिस्पॉन्स आए, दैट इज योर यूटिलाइजेशन टाइम. देन वी हैव क्रोनैक्सी. क्रोनैक्सी इज द डबल ऑफ रियोबेस. Chronaxy is the time for double Riobase current to produce a response. Chronaxy is the unit of excitability. Basically, जितनी ज़्यादा chronaxy होगी, उतना कम excitability होगी. Excitability is what? How quickly can someone get to an action potential. तो अगर chronaxy बहुत ज़्यादा है, यानी utilization time और भी ज़्यादा है. Utilization time बहुत ज़्यादा है, यानी कि इसको excite होने में मेहनत करवानी पड़ रही है, इसको ज़्यादा देर तक stimulus देना पड़ रहा है, which means उसकी excitability कम. Moving on to all or none response. So in this graph we can see there is subthreshold, threshold and suprathreshold stimulus. Subthreshold is what action potential reach नहीं हो रहा है. Threshold is what just enough to create action potential. Supra threshold is much above. अब इसमें क्या हो रहा है, या तो action potential होगा या तो नहीं होगा. It will not matter आप कितना threshold ज़्यादा दे रहे हैं या कम दे रहे हैं, या तो होगा या तो नहीं होगा. The only thing that will change is the frequency of action potentials. The tissue will either fail to respond or it will respond to its maximum capacity. The only thing that will change is the frequency of this response. Period is what? Post first stimulus, tissue becomes unresponsive to second stimulus for some time. एक बार आपने दे दिया, उसके बाद दोबारा before which it can respond, this inactivity or unresponsiveness is called the refractory period. Now absolute और relative होता है ये. So absolute is कितना भी high आप threshold दे दो, it will not change anything because it is an absolute refractory period. So this is usually 1/3 of the repolarization का duration. No strength of stimulus can create a response because जो N gates हैं, told you there is M gates and H gates, right? So M gates तो खुले हुए हैं but H gates बंद हो गए. But this will only open after 1/3 of your repolarization has been passed. तो जब तक ये H gate नहीं खुलेगा, तब तक there can not, no matter how much potential, how much stimulus you give, this channel will remain closed. So for this to happen, of repolarization time has to be passed. This is your absolute refractory period. Then there is relative. अब यहाँ पे end of, so after 1/3 of your repolarization, the relative refractory period starts. So यहाँ पे stronger stimulus can elicit response. So basically what happens in relative refractory period, आपने suprathreshold stimulus दिया, it will open the H gates, which will lead to again action potential दोबारा elicit हो जाएगा. And why is there any response at all? Because the number of sodium channels which are still active or inactivated, जिनके H gates अब खोले जा सकते हैं, are still more than a number of potassium channels which are open. Remember they were slow? So then again there will be a response. Moving to conductivity. Conductivity क्या होता है? It is the propagation of depolarizing wave. It is due to circular current flow. इधर positive, इधर negative, इधर positive. This is circular. So all you need to know in conduction property is, first of all, it originates at the hillock of the nerve. It is unidirectional. Because और ये unidirectional क्यों होता है? Because let's say the wave is traveling from here to here. यहाँ पे ट्रैवल करके यहाँ पहुंची, पीछे क्यों नहीं जा रहे? Because this is an absolute refractory period, so it can only move in one direction. Then myelinated fibers have saltatory conduction, the jumping kind. So only on the nodes of Ranvier action potential generate होता है and node to node conduction होता है, saltatory conduction होता है, which is much more faster. It also uses less energy obviously because you are using less membrane, and it has higher capacitance due to myelination, जिसके कारण repolarization बहुत जल्दी होता है. Now conduction velocity is directly proportional to the diameter and myelination. Diameter you may think कि diameter के कारण तो नहीं होना चाहिए, but the thing is the more the diameter the less is the resistance from inside the cell. Also, one last thing you need to know about conductivity is the direction, which is orthodromic and antidromic. Orthodromic क्या होता है, receptor से synapse की तरफ जाता है, antidromic is synapse to receptor. Now mostly it's orthodromic, but antidromic का if you want example, there is sensory nerves of blood vessel जो कि उल्टे डायरेक्शन में चलते हैं. एंड लास्टली वी हैव द प्रॉपर्टी ऑफ अकोमोडेशन. सो ऑन एप्लीकेशन ऑफ स्लोली राइजिंग करंट अपोज टू द सडन हाई करंट, मेम्ब्रेन अंडर स्टिमुलेशन डज नॉट प्रोड्यूस एक्शन पोटेंशियल. सो इफ यू रिमेंबर हमने जो डेफिनेशन देखी थी, व्हाट वाज इट? एक्शन पोटेंशियल इज सडन चेंज, राइट? हमने क्या करा, हमने धीरे 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 स्टिमुलस बढ़ाया है. व्हाट विल हैपन? अब इट विल कॉज स्लो ओपनिंग ऑफ पोटेशियम चैनल एंड ओपनिंग ऑफ सोडियम चैनल. तो जितना सोडियम खुलता जाएगा उतना पोटेशियम खुलता जाएगा धीरे धीरे, क्योंकि तुम स्टिमुलस दे रहे हो. व्हाट विल इट लीड टू? इक्वल अमाउंट. एंड दिस यूजुअली हैपेंस इन विट्रो, नॉट इन विवो. बोनस टॉपिक फॉर दिस चैप्टर इज ग्रेडेड पोटेंशियल या लोकल रिस्पॉन्स. सो एक्शन पोटेंशियल इज लाइक अ मेजर इवेंट, ग्रेडेड पोटेंशियल आर लाइक एवरीडे इवेंट्स. सो व्हाट हैपेंस इज एक्शन पोटेंशियल एक बड़ा एरिया कवर करता है. इट हैज अ लॉट ऑफ change in voltage and it propagates. Graded potential क्या होता है? जिस एरिया में वो है उसी एरिया में there are some electrical changes. It is non-propagatory. There is no threshold, there is no refractory period, and it could be IPSP or EPSP. IPSP यानी कि inhibitory postsynaptic potential and EPSP is excitatory postsynaptic stimulus. So EPSP is because of anodic stimulation, which leads to depolarization, and IPSP is due to cathodic stimulation, which leads to hyperpolarization. तो अब ये जो passive changes होते रहते हैं membrane potential में due to addition or subtraction of changes, due to environment, due to anything, it does, if it is not up to the threshold, तो ये उसी membrane में छोटे से area में there are a lot of changes like these. And there's a table for difference. This covers the chapter. There is another smaller chapter at the very end, which is body fluids. So usually you're going to get numericals on this chapter, and you should refer to the notes to go through all these. So the thing you need to know is total body water जो है, it is 60% of your weight. So if there is a man weighing 100 kgs, उसमें से 60 kgs what? Water. उस 60 kgs में से 1/3 extracellular होता है and 2/3 intracellular होता है. Now the problem with intracellular is you can't directly measure it. So whatever calculations you are going to go through, indirectly हम ICF निकालने की कोशिश करने वाले हैं उससे. Now again ECF का भी distribution होता है. 25% is in plasma, right? जो कि आप blood से निकाल सकते हो as PCV, and 75% is in interstitial and transcellular fluid, which is lymph, CSF, fluid, bile. So indicator का concentration क्या होता है? Any amount remaining या फिर amount present at that time divided by the volume of blood. That is your concentration of indicator. Using this, you can find out anything. और indicator के characteristics क्या होते हैं? It should be easy to measure. It should remain in one compartment only. If it diffuses onto the other compartment, हमारी calculations गड़बड़ होंगी. Then it should not alter the water retention itself. यानी कि osmotically inactive होना चाहिए. It should be non-toxic. It should mix evenly. It should not be metabolized. So total body water के लिए what are the indicators we use? D2O, heavy water, tritium oxide, aminopyrine. If you see these in the questions, you know you have to calculate what? Total body water. या फिर what is being calculated? Total body water. Plasma volume के लिए we have chromium 51, And how do we find out plasma volume? We multiply the volume by 100 minus PCV by 100. Then lastly we have plasma के लिए Evans blue dye, RISA and radioiodinated gamma globulin. For ECF volume we have insulin, we have chloride isotopes, we have mannitol and sucrose. Anyway, that should cover your entire general physiology. I hope it made sense, and you should go through the notes and the books at least once.